everyone, and welcome back to Miss Azrael's Gaming. So we're going to jump back into the infectious madness of Doctor Dekker, and we are currently on day 2, Valentine's Day.
20 minutes past 10.
Keep up, Doctor.
Thinks we're going to smother her in her sleep.
I'm a grave digger, Doctor.
I was at home,
David is my husband.
all on my lonesome.
Stabbed him with a steak knife. Nothing changes.
I'm a qualified angel of death when I'm dancing.
You get this day over and over.
Hilda,
I black out.
I don't think she's got long.
And Laurie just...
Naked on the beach.
And
Is that it for today?
So if you remember from the first day, we kind of learned that all of the patients seem to have like a different ability. And we have, we've got Nathan, we have Mariana, Elaine, Claire, Bryce, and today we have Jasmine and Lacey. So let's go ahead and let's see, what's this? Oh yeah, I forgot, we have the Alderby footage, so let's go ahead and watch that.
Nothing, of course. The faculty thinks I've gone loopy, like some kind of spongy Mobius strip. That's why I'm here, isn't it, Dr. Dekker? Him, God, the great old one, the elder god, Cthulhu, however you address him. Listen to me! You're not listening! It's your only bloody job! Well, let's call him God. He creates this world for his amusement, something he can play with and occasionally alter to suit his mood. God loves chaos. What goes wrong? Man and woman evolve. What was once chaotic becomes more ordered. Without chaos, he has less power. When there's too much order, he becomes impotent. So he needs to instill chaos again. Do you know how he does this? No! And yes, but you're being too granular. He needs chaos so he can return, and the only thing stopping him is you. Not just you. You and people like you. Psychiatrists, doctors, nurses. Anyone who is caring for people who are losing their sanity. You have no comprehension how important your job is, do you? He doesn't need your version of insanity to spread. He needs chaos. It's not the same. It's just a means to an end. They're not all cultists, unfortunately. Once you see the truth, it's hard not to spread chaos yourself, to cause further insanity and of your own. I doubt it. But can I make you question your reality? Definitely. But in doing so, I will be promoting more chaos. On the basis that the central component of our universe is chaos, science can only document a perception of the chaos at any one given moment in time. As, by definition, chaos is unpredictable from one moment to the next. Which means that at any given moment, we can choose to alter our perception of the world, no matter how much chaos that would cause. 10 seconds time, there will be no gravity in this room. We will float. 3, 2, 1. You think nothing happened. Where's your glass, Doctor?
Oh, his glass fell. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with Nathan. We're going to ask him, how are you today?
Hello again, Doctor. I had a bit of a shaky loop incident, but let's not talk about it. Yesterday, I set fire to Hannah's clothes in the garden. I just wanted the day to move forward. I instantly regretted it. And lo and behold, here we are, a new day. Hannah's clothes are a pile of ashes.
Why did you burn Hannah's clothes?
I've kept almost all of her stuff as she left it. Just the clothes. I decided to burn those yesterday, so here I am. Hannah loved clothes. Every season, she'd donate her entire wardrobe to some charity or another, and only buy stuff she loved. And I was left with winter. I don't even know what her favourite season was. Does it matter? What's your favourite season, Doctor?
I'll just say I like winter like he
If
does.
you like winter, you're supposed to be hardworking and analytical. I suppose that increases my chances of you curing my problem. I don't think winter was Hannah's favourite season. Not colourful enough.
What did Deckard think of you?
Dr. Dekker felt that Hannah was holding me back. The memories of Hannah. In his opinion, I was holding on to the past. So I guess he cursed me. That's even a thing.
He cursed you?
Yes, Dr. Dekker cursed me. I don't really want to talk about it, but let's just say I blame him for the way I am. Can you give me some advice, Doctor?
What advice do you need?
I've been trying to think how I can get past today. I've come up with a couple of choices. I could set fire to Hannah's photographs. I've got them in Dropbox anyway. Setting fire to the clothes did the trick. Or setting fire to the rocking chair. She sounds like an old lady, but she loved that rocking chair, which I've not sat in since. Which one do you think's best?
Let's say burn the rocking chair.
Set fire to the rocking chair. I never like the way it moves. Forwards, backwards. Forwards.
What were you doing on Valentine's Day?
I was at Henley Church on Valentine's Day, visiting Hannah's grave. It was the anniversary of her death. Her parents wanted a huge funeral with all the trimmings. Hannah would never have come for it. It does give me somewhere to visit. I got to write the epitaph.
When did you leave Henley Church?
I left Henley Church about 11 o'clock on Valentine's Day. I was talking to an archaeologist who said it uncovered some fossils resembling a strange cephalopod-like creature. Strange place to find an octopus, really. What? Do you think I've got something to do with Dr. Dekker's murder? Maybe you should ask your assistant who Dekker saw that day.
What was the epitaph?
We walk alone without our angel.
Are you religious?
I'm not religious, but when I wrote Hannah's epitaph, I knew her parents would want some acknowledgement of the great bearded one. But she was an angel to me. She was an angel to everyone.
Do you feel lonely?
I've been alone since Hannah. I can't imagine anyone ever replacing her. Not that I've looked. Do you think I should look for someone else?
Yes, look for someone else, or no, only when you're ready. I'd probably say no, look when you're ready.
Thanks, Doctor. I appreciate that. I still don't think I'm ready to move forward in that respect.
What were you doing at the time of Dekker's murder?
It was a missed call. It was Valentine's Day, so I wasn't in the mood for a conversation.
I wonder if I can ask him more about the conversation, because there is a button over here where you can actually type stuff, but I don't know if that will cause me not to be able to ask the other things, but let's see if we can.
I don't know.
Okay, so he didn't, unless I have to type out the whole thing. Okay, so tell me about your mother.
She's dead. Thanks for bringing that up.
Oh, okay, sorry. That's what psychologists say. Tell me about your mother. What's your favorite season?
I like winter. Being snowed in with Hannah. Just the two of us. It's paradise.
Didn't he already answer that one earlier? What happened with the archaeologist?
She was interested. Maybe I misread. Maybe she was just being kind. I suppose most women wouldn't enjoy me talking about my dead ex for hours.
What's a cephalopod?
It's a sea creature, like an octopus. I suppose they find dinosaur bones everywhere. Just because we're on land now doesn't mean millions of years ago this place wasn't at the bottom of an ocean.
Okay, so he didn't mention anything else about the phone call. Okay, let's go with Mariana. How are you today?
I haven't been back to the beach since our last session, and no blackouts, new doctor, and new hope. You're much better behaved than Dr. Dekker.
What can you tell me about Dekker?
We went out for drinks. Didn't you know? He said it was a breach of something or the other, but I can be pretty persuasive when I want to be.
That's funny, I thought she didn't drink. Yeah, I thought Mariana said she didn't drink. Did you just go out for drinks?
Yeah, drinks. I think Dr. Dekker ordered neat whiskey. I had water. I don't drink.
How are you persuasive?
I know, it's pretty hard to believe, isn't it? I feel pretty ugly. But I think I have a nice smile.
You're not ugly.
Lots of people find me attractive, but I've seen something truly beautiful. It makes me feel dull by comparison.
What beautiful thing have you seen?
I have a recurring dream where I find something beautiful in the sea. But I don't know you that well yet, Doctor. Let's wait a while before I tell you my most intimate secrets.
Sorry to cut in, Doctor.
Good Lord.
I've just had a phone call from a solicitor. Ben's trying to sue us for nervous shock. Should I go and see him to talk it out, or should I find a solicitor to represent us? Sorry to be pushy, I just think we should act quickly before it's too late. Well, just let me know.
She didn't even knock. She just, come in and got in my face. Intimate secrets?
Wouldn't you like to know? Is our session up now?
It literally just started, lady. She's so sus. Why did you have drinks with Dekker?
I guess it was a couple of days before Valentine's Day. It wasn't a date or anything. I noticed in our sessions that he'd been acting a little strange. He just didn't seem right. I wanted to find out what was wrong.
What were you doing on Valentine's?
I didn't have anything to do on Valentine's Day. I washed my hair and I walked along the beach for the whole night. It's actually true.
Why am I better behaved?
Dr. Dekker dated his patients. That's not good behavior, is it?
Not particularly. Which patient did he date?
I think her name was Scarlett? One of his patients, an older woman. Guess that's how he liked them.
Somebody sounds jealous. How do you feel about not going to the beach?
I haven't been back to the beach since our last session. Kind of missed it.
Why have you missed the beach?
You do something a lot, you're gonna miss it. I suspect I'll go back there soon, but it's helped with the blackouts.
Were you seeing Dekker?
People are quick to put labels on everything. I suppose Dr. Dekker was more than just a therapist to me. We had a lot of things in common, but we weren't seeing each other.
Are you seeing someone at the moment?
I'm not seeing anyone at the moment. Are you offering, Doctor?
No, I'm not offering.
It sounded like an offer to me, Doctor.
Well, you can think everything you want. It's not true. Were you really washing your hair?
Some girls say that they're washing their hair when they don't want to go out, but I was genuinely washing my hair. Do you think my hair is pretty, Doctor?
Yes, your hair is pretty.
Such a mess. But thank you.
Talk about somebody who fishes for compliments. People like that drive me crazy. Why do you feel the need to ask if your hair is pretty?
I'm insecure, Doctor. Isn't it obvious?
Have you been dancing?
I've danced around in my living room, but no clubs since last time. I like dancing around in my underwear. Sometimes less.
Oh, of course she does. Okay, let's move on to Elaine. How are you today?
I haven't had a great day, to be honest. Someone accused me of stealing from my patients, which I would never do. Plus, Hilda's getting worse.
What were you accused of stealing?
This, Well, it started with this. It's a locket. Alice, one of my patients, gave it to me before she died.
Let's see, Eileen. Eileen accused of stealing said started with the locket. What else have patients given her? What else have patients given you?
I have a few other things. A watch. A ring. One patient gave me a little china bird. They're not valuable. Just trinkets, really.
Yeah, I don't think a ring, a watch, a necklace are just trinkets. They're all trinkets?
Strictly speaking, all of the patient's belongings should be passed on to family members after they die. But Alice's son never visited. He didn't care about his mum. Why would he care about some worthless piece of jewellery? It just doesn't feel right to me. What do you think, Doctor? Am I wrong to keep the locket?
Yes, it's wrong to keep the locket.
Really? I don't see the harm. Alice wanted me to have it. You and Terry and all the other nurses just don't understand.
No, because you took advantage of them in a moment where they were leaving this earth, so that's not right. What were you doing on Valentine's night?
Actually, I had a hot date. It wasn't anything serious, just some guy I know. But it was a nice date, different to what I'm used to.
Why was the date different?
It was very traditional, old-fashioned, you know. Dinner at a nice restaurant. Then we went for a little walk along the pier. Held hands, had a bit of a kiss. Then he called a cab and we went back to my place.
What time did you get the cab?
I'm not sure what time Max left. We fooled around for a bit at my place, so early hours of the morning.
Now, see, that's funny because so far, I told you guys that I had to re-record this because the recordings ended up being too big for my editing software. So I had to go back and I'm doing, by days, right? When I first had this conversation with her, she mentioned how she went home and left him there at the pier. This time around, they went back to her place. So that stands out to me. I'm not sure if that means that she's probably the one that, did end Dr. Dekker. But that's definitely something for us to keep in mind now that I've for sure heard something completely different. So, can you tell me anything else about Dr. Dekker?
Yes, I had a session with Dr. Dekker on Valentine's Day. 3 o'clock, I think. Just a few hours later, I still can't get over it.
You mentioned Hilda.
Hilda's the one I mentioned in our last session. She's dying. I can tell. I need to see her before it's too late.
Why do you need to see Hilda?
To help her finish her unfinished business. People who are dying always have things they wish they could do before they go. We leave a lot of loose ends in our lives. We're very messy that way.
What's Hilda's unfinished business?
Hilda wants to see her daughter. She's in Australia, so I'm going to have to use my talent.
What talent?
I can change my skin. What I look like. I can turn into a patient's loved one. I just hold their hand and ask them to imagine that the person they want to see is sitting right here next to them, and I become them. It's how I help them move on. That's how I comfort them.
How does it comfort them?
I only shift at work to help my patients. I don't have any interest in using it as a party trick or to deceive anyone.
Who accused you of stealing?
Of course course, it was Terry that accused me of stealing. One of the other nurses, she's actually trying to make out that I'm some kind of HSK.
What does HSK stand for?
Healthcare serial killer. You know, like those nurses that kill loads of their patients. I'm surprised you haven't heard of it. Anyway, because a few of my patients have died on me, and some of those patients have given me gifts, Terry thinks it means that I've been killing them off.
Well, the shoe fits. Who is your date with?
His name is Max. He's really sweet, but I don't see a future between us. He's not really my type.
Tell me about Max.
I've known Max a couple of years, but this is the first time we've been on a date. I don't think he's boyfriend material.
Why did you fool around with Max if he wasn't your type?
What do you want me to say? It was Valentine's Day. Everyone deserves a little loving on Valentine's Day.
That might be leading him on, just saying. Maybe like you did Dr. Dekker before you stabbed him. Okay, so how was Dr. Dekker on Valentine's Day?
Dr. Dekker seemed fine on Valentine's Day. He seemed to be in a good mood. It didn't seem like anything was bothering him.
How can you tell when people are dying?
I can sense it, you know? It's like when you're outside and there's a sudden change in the light or the air feels different and you know it's going to rain. It's like that. I always know when one of my patients is fading, even before the doctors know. Their energy changes. It sounds silly when I put it into words. I sound like my mum.
Okay, so let's move on. Claire, how are you today?
It's the anniversary of my parents' death today. I went to the lake house. I always go to the lake house anyway, but it's also where they died.
What did you do at the lake house?
I did for a while, looking across the water. It's peaceful there. It's the place that makes me feel most. There was a girl there, by the lake, only about 9 or 10. She was fishing, if you can call it that, with one of those nets on a stick.
Did you speak to the girl?
I don't know why I talked to her. She looked sad. I don't usually talk to children, but she seemed different, special. I'm allowed to talk to her, aren't I, Doctor?
Yes, you can talk with the girl.
Good. It felt nice. I felt like I was being nice. I felt human. So I can find her and talk to her again, Doctor?
Yes, you can talk with the girl again.
Then I will. I'll look for her next time I'm there.
Why was the girl sad?
David had been hunting again, and, well, she's seen some of the skins he hung around the lake house.
Where's David today?
David wasn't there. Or at least I didn't see him. I didn't go inside. I forgot my key, and the spare was missing.
What skins did the girl see?
Animal skins. David hunts and then skins. It's horrible, really. He's not really good at either job, so the skins still have great lumps of bloody carcass hanging off them. I'm sure he'll get better with practice.
How did your parents die?
They died of carbon monoxide poisoning. I was staying at a friend's house. Otherwise, I would have died too.
What were you doing on Valentine's Day?
The day Dr. Dekker was killed, I had a session with him in the morning at my usual time, 11 o'clock. That was the last time I saw him.
What did you talk to Dekker about in your last session?
Dr. Dekker made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. I'll be taking it to the grave with me, though. As did he.
Wow, that's a little callous. How did the girl seem special?
I don't know. I suppose she just reminded me of me. I spent a lot of time alone as a child. She said she was trying to catch some strange creatures that she's seen in the water.
That That's funny. She reminds me a lot like me. A serial killer. What strange creature had the girl seen?
I don't know. Minnows, probably. Everything's strange when you're a child.
When did your parents die?
It was 12 years ago. I was still very young. Too young to be an orphan, anyway. I had to toughen up quickly.
How did you meet David?
Met isn't the right word. David has always been there, in the shadows, on the periphery. I move in very exclusive circles. You tend to see the same faces.
What kind of exclusive circles?
I don't move in any circles anymore. Those people were my parents' friends, not mine.
Do you love your husband?
Love? Yes. I suppose I always will.
What were you doing on Valentine's night?
Valentine's Day night, I was at the lake house, watching David, like I always do.
Why were you watching David?
He has trouble with his mental faculties and he's getting worse. Yes. I watch him and make sure nothing bad happens.
Okay, so let's move on to Bryce. So how are you today?
There's something I want to tell you about. Something else that's wrong with me. I think I've been getting a bit out of control in my hour.
How have you been getting out of control?
When I first got the hour, I was shocked, obviously. It took me a while to work out that everyone was frozen and only I could move. Because I live on my own. What would you do, Doctor, if you had an hour where everyone was frozen? Go to a fairground?
Bryce asked what I would do if I had an extra hour. Maybe I should suggest things he might have done to gain his trust. I wonder if he's stolen anything or spied on anyone or helped anyone. Well, I would help people.
I did think, what good could I do, other than catch up with work? I did see a woman who was having her purse snatched, so I gave her purse back, and the crook, I placed him on a bus a few blocks away. I have no idea where it was going. She'd never really be able to thank me, so I took another picture.
Okay, let's go ahead and say the other things. I'd steal things.
Yes, I would steal too, and I have stolen. I ran out of milk, so I thought I'd go to the local shop and get some more. I was absolutely intending to pay, but when I got there, everyone was frozen. I thought about leaving money on the counter, but that seemed weird. The cashier would wake and suddenly this money would have appeared from nowhere. But I've stolen bigger things.
I'd spy on people.
Well, that makes me feel a little better. There's a young mother, divorced, who lives opposite me. Jessica. She's friendly and says hello to me, smiles. I've always wondered what she looks like naked. So 1 hour, I broke into her house. She was standing in her bedroom. I took it as a sign. I took off her clothes and...
Oh my god, I can't stand this dude. I'll get to that, but let's just go ahead and say this when I go to the fairground.
That was just an example, Doctor. I'm sure you can come up with more exciting things to do than that.
What did you do after taking off Jessica's clothes?
I took photos of Jessica when she was naked. When I'd stripped her. When she was naked and frozen. I didn't want to have to do it again, to strip her again. So I took pictures to remind myself what she looked like. That's wrong, isn't it, Doctor?
Extremely, you disgusting little weasel. Yes, it's wrong to take those photos.
I know. It's that bloody Doctor Dekker. He made me this way. It's all his fault.
It's always somebody else's fault, right? Why is it Dekker's fault?
Like I said, I originally presented with depression, and everything was going well for a while. Then Dr. Dekker changed.
How did Dekker change?
He was easily distracted during sessions, like he wasn't listening. I'm pretty sure he wasn't listening half the time. I don't think he wanted to know about his patients anymore. But when he did give you advice...
What advice did Dekker give you?
He told me to use my imagination, to make something up, to think something crazy, and it would become real. He told me to think of a way to get more time. So I did. But he pushed me. He made me think it.
He didn't make you be a little shitbag. Where were you on Valentine's Day?
I spent most of Valentine's Day at the art gallery. Well, the evening part, anyway. They had a display with the theme, Love Conquers All. I didn't get most of the paintings, but they were well done.
Tell me more about Dekker.
I dug the grave for Dr. Dekker. I helped carry his coffin to the burial site. Do you know what? It didn't weigh enough to have a body in it. Why do you think that is?
There wasn't a body in it? Is Bryce looking at something behind me? Was Decker's coffin empty?
No, the coffin wasn't empty. There was something in it. A decoy, I'd imagine.
Why would there be a decoy?
I'm guessing he was buried somewhere else, or cremated. Somebody somewhere didn't want his body going in the ground. Do you want to be cremated or buried, Doctor?
Cremated or buried? Well, since he has to do the burying, he probably hates doing it. Let's go with cremated. I'm trying to keep everybody on my good side.
That's a good choice, Doctor. Less work for me.
That way I can get more information out of him. Can you see something behind me?
Possibly a relative of yours. Possibly a patient that died here. I'm not sure. She doesn't normally say anything.
Okay. Have you ever destroyed anything?
Yes, I suppose I've destroyed a few things whilst in the hour. You can be the perfect supervillain. Nobody knows it was you.
Have they found any more relics?
That wretched dig goes on 24/7. 25/7, if you ask me. Your patient, Nathan, caused quite a stir. He interrupted one of the female students all night, apparently. Made her miscategorize some findings, going on about his dead girlfriend. It's amazing what you hear at the coffee machine. And I suppose that's a bonus. We're allowed to use their coffee machine while they're there.
Says Bryce says Nathan was with a female student all Valentine's Day. Well, he did collaborate that. He said that. Why didn't you stop seeing Dr. Dekker?
Because you have to hope, don't you, Doctor? It's only the power of hindsight that made me realize how toxic it all was. And after a point, you go too far to be able to come back anyway.
Okay, let's go with Jasmine. Who are you?
I'm Jasmine. I don't come in that often. What happened to Dr. Dekker?
Dr. Dekker was murdered.
Oh. When? How? Sorry, you probably don't know, do you?
I should tell Jasmine that Dekker was stabbed. Dekker was stabbed.
Ouch. I didn't really know him that well. I'm trying to remember what I was doing on Valentine's Day now.
What were you doing on Valentine's Day?
We had a display in the gallery based on Love Conquers All, so I had to work. Mainly it was a collection of giant hearts sat on things, but I ran into another patient, Bryce. I'd never really spoken with him before, but he's quite an art critic.
Oh.
I couldn't get rid of him until I finished work at 11. There's actually another guy takes over on the night shift. I'm not sure if he kept talking to Bryce though. Providence is open 24 hours.
Well, kind of gets Bryce's alibi. Tell me about Bryce.
There's not much to tell. I knew he was a patient here. I'd seen him in the waiting room a couple of times. He likes art and talking and looking down here instead of up here.
Yeah, he's a skis. What's your problem?
When you see a painting,
It's kind of funny to phrase it that way.
it stands still. When I see one, it's moving. Like a mini film. Like little vines. But when there's a person in the painting,
What happens when there's a person in the painting?
they watch me. Normally disapprovingly.
Why do they watch disapprovingly?
Because they don't think I know how to appreciate art. Because I'm too young.
Judgmental paintings. Do you appreciate art?
Yes, of course. Otherwise I wouldn't be working in an art gallery. I love art. I love paintings. Like I said, they move for me.
How do the paintings move?
When I want them to, normally. When I want to really get inside what's going on. But some paintings, I can't stop.
Which paintings can't you stop?
I've been working on portraits, at home, outside work. But my paintings aren't so good. Nowhere near Providence standard. I painted a man, Dorian. You know, after Dorian Gray.
Tell me about Dorian.
I wanted to try and capture someone aging, so I divided the face into thirds and painted a boy, his father, and his grandfather in each third. It was hideous. And it started talking to me.
What did Dorian say?
That I'm ugly, that I have no talent, nothing will become of me. Is that true, Doctor?
No, it's not true.
I hear it so many times in that wretched painting. It's in my head. But thank you.
Because she asked Jasmine how she felt about Dekker. Tell me more about Dekker.
He was shy. And then less so. When I told him about my problem, he told me to set fire to it.
Set fire to what?
Yeah, he could have been more specific. I tried to set fire to Providence. At that time, I thought the only way to fix my problem was to set fire to the entire art gallery. Several paintings didn't make it. Luckily, my boss didn't press charges. The police did arrest me, though.
Why didn't your boss press charges?
My boss, Petra, she's just lovely like that. Providence has gone through some tough times, and I've only been there a year. She invested her life savings, and it's still not making any money. Such a sweet lady. You'd do anything for her.
Did Petra ask you to set fire to Providence?
Doctor Dekker told me to burn it. There's nothing to do with Petra.
Was the fire started for insurance money?
No. Why are you saying that? I don't even know if Petra has insurance.
More than likely she does. The paintings of Dorian get destroyed in the fire. Was Dorian destroyed in the fire?
I already ripped up the painting. It screamed as I cut it. And now whenever I close my eyes, I can see it, hear it. I need the tablets, Doctor. I need them.
What tablets?
The temazepam, the sleeping tablets. The ones you gave me last time.
I didn't give you anything last time.
Dr. Dekker gave them to me. They helped. I know it's in my head. I know paintings can't talk. What's wrong with me, Doctor? Why do I do this?
I think you lack a little bit of self-confidence.
Thank you, Doctor. I'll think about that. And the prescription, please?
Okay, we're gonna move to Lacey. So who are you?
I'm Lacey Hendricks. So you don't know about me then?
No, what about you?
Where to start? My next door neighbour in Jobson Hill, where I live, she was murdered. 80, and they diversion burgled her. But she was wise to it and started calling the police. They slit her throat with a bread knife. So I started a neighbourhood watch.
It says I should ask Lacey about the neighborhood watch. Tell me about the neighborhood watch.
It was me and Agnes. Everyone else thought we were overreacting. If they want their throats cut, that's up to them, living in their bubbles. But Agnes... Poor Agnes.
What's wrong with Agnes?
She went missing, and still is. And that's what people think. But it's not the truth.
What is the truth?
It killed them. It looks normal enough. A smartly dressed, door-to-door saleswoman. I know because I heard my other neighbours shout at her. No Jehovah's! They think anyone knocking is a Jehovah. But she said she was selling double glazing.
Was the woman really selling double glazing?
I don't know. I didn't answer the door. It's not to nowadays. But I watched her go to Agnes's. Poor Agnes. She let her right into her house.
What happened after Agnes let the woman into her house?
I could only see the silhouette. It turned from a person into a, well, it looked like, I guess you'd call it a Medusa. Snakes for her face. And Agnes just fell to the floor. A few minutes later, the woman left, smiling like the cat that got the cream. That was the end of Agnes.
Do you have proof Agnes is dead?
I saw it with my own eyes. What more proof do I need? You're starting to sound like Doctor Dekker. He didn't believe me either.
Tell me about Dekker.
I didn't have much luck with him, like I said. He didn't believe me. He thought I was having a hallucination caused by the stress of my neighbour being so brutally murdered. Where is Agnes, though? I haven't found her, have they? Have they?
I don't know. No, they didn't find Agnes?
They haven't found her because that thing ate her. Or made her disappear or something. Her useless husband managed to survive unscathed, though.
Why is Agnes's husband useless?
Don't know much about him. Other than the fact that he looks at me like I'm 6 foot under every time we meet. He doesn't seem too bothered she's gone missing either. He did at first, when the police were crawling around. But now they've gone, that's stopped. If I hadn't seen that thing eat her, I'd...
Do you suspect the husband?
No. He's a weaselly little man who spends far too much time in his garden. It's probably like the National Trust back there. The constant digging and building, pruning and sawing.
Was Ron digging a grave?
What a thing to say! Why would you say that? I kept watching the front door after that saleswoman had left and nothing. She didn't leave, and you can't get out the back since the council sold the garage block. Ron's a gardener, not a killer. Unless
what?
Agnes said Ron was laying the foundations for a new greenhouse. You don't think...
You think Agnes is in the foundations?
I need to call the police.
I need to call them now. But they won't listen to me. I tried to tell them about the monster, but they didn't believe me. They won't believe me about this, I promise you. Please, could you call them, Doctor?
No, I won't call the police.
I'll get someone else to do it. I suppose I shouldn't really expect any help from you. Dr. Dekker used to call me the leech lady.
Why did Dekker call you the leech lady?
He said that I leech thoughts from people. Suck 'em right out of their heads. And I can put thoughts in there too. I'm not that clever though, am I, Doctor? I mean, it's not as if I was having an affair with Ron and Agnes was in the way and needed to disappear. So I made this story up. I mean, what do you think I do for a living anyway?
She scares me. You sell double glazing?
Doctor, you're so good. We're going to get on just fine.
What were you doing on Valentine's night?
I was at Henley Church. They had a service that ran right up till midnight. For us less fortunates without the love in their life. Well, now. Do you have someone, Doctor? Do you have a love in your life?
No, I haven't found love yet.
Garden club. You should come with me one night. It's a lovely way to meet new people.
You know what? No thanks. I think I'll pass. Okay, let's talk to Jaya. How are you?
Hey you! Thanks for helping me with this grief thing. I'm not sure I have it though.
Tell me about Ben.
So, should I get a solicitor or shall we try and talk it out with him?
Try and talk it out.
Good choice. I'll go and see Ben to see if I can get him to call off the dogs. I have no idea what's gotten into him. Perhaps it's his mum.
Shall we talk about grief?
I don't really know where to start. I feel a bit numb. Maybe we should just talk about him.
What was Dekker like?
It hadn't even been a year. He was a quiet, solitary man. A good listener, as I suppose you'd need to be. His confidence did grow as time wore on, but that's what you'd expect after you'd fitted in. I mainly miss our chats. He used to work late with me and tell me things about the patients, things that I probably shouldn't have heard, but did. What do you think of the patients? Nah, perhaps you shouldn't say. You can ask me. Go on, I'll tell you what I think.
I don't think you're supposed to gossip about patients, but... why did you work late with Dekker?
We'd work late together on all sorts of things. He was preoccupied with finding patterns in patients, trying to find some kind of order.
What patterns was Dr. Dekker trying to spot?
Mainly he was searching for a common experience the patients might have had. That's what led them to his office. He'd study everything, even the referral letters.
Referral letters?
Yes. Letters, parking tickets, holiday destinations. You know, I find those referral letters... He was sure there was a pattern in them.
Tell me about Mariana.
Mariana is a special girl. You know, there's something about her that just makes you want to follow her. Maybe that's what a trendsetter looks like.
Tell me about Bryce.
I think Bryce has a lot of misdirected anger. I don't think I like him that much. You know, sometimes when things overrun, he's outside waiting for you, and he stares at me as if he's treating me with dying. He's not the first person that's done that, but still, you know, it feels worse coming from him.
Tell me about Claire.
Claire seems to be shaken by something. You know, I offer her drinks every time she comes in, but she always refuses them. It's as if she just wants to come in, get her session over with, and then run off to do something else. It's a bit rude, isn't it?
Tell me about Elaine.
Elin seems like a lovely person. I'm not really sure why she's here.
Tell me about Nathan.
Oh, I just want to cuddle Nathan all up. He's such a mess. He's always in the same clothes. You know, he barely talks to me though. It's the same hello every time. He reminds me of Tom.
Who's Tom?
Tom was a quiet mess, like Nathan. Youngish, in his early 20s. He taught piano, but he did have a strange hobby.
What was Tom's hobby?
Tom liked to base jump. That's basically falling from a huge building or mountain and pulling your parachute before you hit the ground. He started to think he could fly. Dr. Dekker tried to talk him out of it, but Tom had to prove his point. So one day, Tom decided to base jump without a parachute.
Yikes.
Can you guess what happened?
Splat? Did Tom die?
He did die. He was hit by a rock from further up the mountain. He never got to fly. Nathan thinks he knows what his problem is too, but if he's not careful, he'll get hit by that rock. I wish I'd said goodbye.
Is there someone you wanted to say goodbye to?
I wish I'd said goodbye to Dr. Dekker. It was so sudden. Here, then gone. He resigned anyway, but that's not the same, is it?
Why did Dr. Dekker resign?
Dr. Dekker resigned shortly before his murder. It's sad, but doctors come and go and only poor Jaya remains. I've got his resignation letter somewhere. You know, I do all the hiring and firing around here. Well, Professor Alderby and the Trust technically do that.
Professor Alderby.
Professor Alderby is a trustee. Did I not mention that?
Who has a session on Valentine's Day?
On Valentine's Day, Dr. Dekker had a session with Claire Castleford at 11 and that nurse Elin at 3. Everyone else cancelled. You should see this place Christmas Eve. I was at home though, so I don't actually know who came in. Dr. Dekker did phone and ask me for Nathan's number, which is a bit strange.
Since Dr. Dekker called Nathan the day he was murdered, I should ask Nathan. What's Ben's mum got to do with it?
She was cuddling him like he was 6. He's 25.
What can you tell me about Dr. Dekker's patients?
Most of the patients are suspects, according to the police. Almost all the patients are referred. Some of them are privates, but Dr. Dekker didn't introduce any of them.
Who or what is Cthulhu?
So you watched the tapes. Gold star for you.
What happened to Dr. Dekker's glass in Alderby's video?
It smashed.
That's it? I mean, okay, let's make sure that we've gone through everything. There are no more questions, but perhaps you should ask someone else a question. Okay, the keyboard's still available, so... Let's see if we can type a question. Did Dr. Dekker call you?
Dr. Dekker felt that Hannah was holding me back. The memories of Hannah.
That's not what I wanted.
In his opinion, I was holding on to the past. So I guess he cursed me.
Okay, we'll skip that. Let me try one more.
Dr. Dr. Dekker felt that Hannah was...
No, it's the same thing. Okay. I was just curious. I wondered if I could get through. So we've asked everyone everything. Huh. No light bulb on Lacey or Jasmine, but there's one because that's where you get hints from. Okay, so let's look at Dr. Dekker's resignation letter. Okay, it says, February 11th, to whom it may concern, please accept this letter as my notice of intention to resign from my position, D. Dr. Dekker. Unusual resignation letter. See if that changed anything. No. Okay. So we'll go ahead and end the next day. Alright everyone, so we're going to go ahead and end it there. That was day 2 or act 2, and we'll be starting the next act the next time we come back to the game. Hopefully you've been enjoying the infectious madness of Dr. Dekker. Please leave me a comment down below, leave me a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time. Bye.